In the act of life, we are met with many stop signs and roadblocks along our path. Over and over are we met with physical resistance. Whether it be outside voices saying you can't or actions against you. Maybe physically, your body showing you that you have a limit. Or maybe it's the occurrences of your own self-imposed limiting beliefs. The idea that you cannot proceed, it shows you where you are limiting yourself. Inherently, to limit oneself means that one has more to be and evolve into. There is more potential, and yet we think we can't be it. Limitations show you many things. First, that you are in a lack mind of consciousness. The lack mind is a state of perceived separation to all and anything other. This mind has a polarity, though, and limitation turns into something else entirely in this state. This abundant mind is a state of perceived wholeness with anything and all other. This implies your ideals, your worries, your fears and wants. Anything and all is included in this state. But for those of you who notice the words fears and worries, you may be asking and shaking your head saying, how can it be? How could there be abundance and fears be there as well? Especially if you understand that fear is nothing but a lack-filled state. You must understand that before anything appears as its physical shape, or sensation or perception, it is nothing but pure potential. Or we could label this as source or God. But you don't have to use these identities and these words. You can instead see through the quantum sphere of when we have a vibratory pattern, we get a specific shape, a result. And so theoretically, there is a tuned vibration to every single thing imaginable. So it is only from pure potential, which our focus and attention, therefore our vibration of motion, was turned to something. I point this out because pure potential is nothing but the blueprint of our reality, our makeup. So no matter the choice, the circumstance, or reality, it came all from the same place, our consciousness. Our consciousness choosing how it shows up and further manifests. It is just as though we have taken Play-Doh and molded it into something new, something different, but it will always stay as Play-Doh. With this information, all potentials, wanted and unwanted, existing, non-existing, perceivable and unperceivable, they're all there. With all this said, the acknowledgement of pure potential, that would be better suited as true essence, can lead us straight into our topic, where we shed our limitations to open our capacity to intake, our capacity to be, our capacity to have consciousness and raise our vibrational frequency into harmony. I'll be honest with you all, in this life we call reality, we made the idea to be separate. We are in separate bodies, and yet we are in a whole. We are part of an ecosystem, a machine. We have the polarity of being a singular being, a separate whole thing from the whole, but still being unified in that structure. It's integration which allows for these polarities to work harmoniously and seamlessly. So as long as one chooses the reality of separation of this world, and the incarnation that we are, we will continue to experience limitations. Limitations are a tool in this time-space dimension, which allows for one to see where an entity's vibration is and what is opposing it for one reason or the other. One, for an evolutionary process, a purpose to grow and progress to be something more. It shows opposition of what is not yet included and made whole into the being. For simplistic reasons, we do not consider ourselves to be fire. We do not vibrate at fire's frequency, and it is incompatible to us. Just as water itself is a different vibrational frequency than fire. Just like us. This is a limitation to the human body. So I don't want to continue today with the false presumptions that by using techniques and consciousness and activities mentioned in this video, will we ever or are even meant to get rid of all limitations. That is not what I'm promising. Fact is, you will only evolve higher and higher and higher, trading lower limitations for bigger limitations. From once believing that your limitation was crawling to now believing your limitation is flying. We will evolve, but I want us to have a loving and friendly sportsmanship with our opponent or coach limits. Limits show us where we can evolve, but it won't stop until you are completely whole. That said, limits is all about unity, and taking you to understand the forgotten truth that you are already whole. Limits show you where you believe to be separate. Limits show you where you don't believe, where you lack, where you have failed to look at the bigger picture, more options. If you believe you are stuck, no, you are not. Look again. You will yearn, you will cry, you will grieve, hope, and beg. But all of these things teach you one thing. What is it that is stopping you? If you wanted to be joyous, with peace and contentment in this moment, truly encapsulating your entire being, what is stopping you? If you wanted that job, that career with those workers, with that boss, with those environments, what is stopping you? If you wanted that relationship with those interests and that shared purpose, what is stopping you? And if you wanted that lifestyle, that one filled with abundance and peace and overflow of the most harmonious and helpful things, what is stopping you? If your first answer was my environment, you are wrong. And if you answered yourself, you are correct. It will be a hard pill to swallow, but it is better now than to waste the rest of your life waiting for the sky to change. It is never the time. It will never be the time. It won't be the season. It won't be the place. It won't be the people. It won't be anything. It won't be because you didn't make it the time. You need to be aware of yourself. The time is objectively subjective. While people prosper, there are people rotting. While one gains, one loses. At the end of the day, you make with what you do with your life. You don't make it from the actions of false humility and arrogance and ignorance. It doesn't take words and steps out of alignment to the truth of what you want. It takes you aware. What time are you making it? Objectively look at yourself. You in this moment. Could you handle that job you want? The connections? Honestly ask yourself and play these thoughts out in your mind. If you don't want to go huge, start small. Do you genuinely think you could handle, let's say, the public speech? Or that date? Or do you think that you don't have the intellectual, emotional, physical understanding required, the maturity, anything that is required for that moment in time? Guys, I say this because if we are scared to do the lowerly and viewed important things, like asking for a hand, talking to a colleague, sending back the wrong order, or standing up for ourselves, how in your right mind do you think you are equipped to handle largely viewed responsibility and important things with care, with grace, with humility, and with harmony? Let's be honest, you can't. If you aren't in the mental headspace, the emotional headspace, the intellectual space, and the state of being equipped to hold responsibility, you will crumble. Limits show you your inner work, which needs to be done. say all of this to point us in the direction of shaping our inner world, and so we can make accurate decisions in the headspace of our desire of higher things out of harmony. Because I'll be honest, limits only show you where harmony is not available. If there's harmony, all is connected, all is placed where it should be for the utmost optimal occurrence. Limits show you where one needs to regroup, recenter, or rethink, or therefore showing up differently. Let's stay focused on this, on the fact that if you observe the fact that you objectively could not gracefully handle and provide for what it is that you want past your limitations, I want us to ask ourselves, why? Why can't I? Why? Why am I not perceiving to be equipped with it? Why do I think I can't have or gain the necessary requirements? What would be so bad if I went and did it anyways? Look at your worst case scenario. If it's popping up, what is so bad about it? What then? Continue with this. For example, let's say you're at a restaurant. Your server is short and rude and they get you the wrong food. You feel your limit is to not speak up, and so you'll sit and eat the meal even though it's wrong. But if you were to stretch your capacity, you could go through the sequence such as this one. First, observing. You have anxiety, contacting about the waiter that it's too much. You ask yourself why. Why am I anxious? Say it's because they were already short, and so I don't want to make them upset. All this. Why? If I make them upset, I get more embarrassed. Why? Because I'm taking up time and I'm being a burden or nuisance. I could just eat the food. What would be so bad about being a nuisance or taking up their time, their space? I would feel like it's too much to bear. I'm not being kind if I'm being a problem. What's so bad about being seen as a problem? What's bad about being a problem to someone else? They won't like me. What's so bad about them not liking you? It proves that I'm not worthy of being loved, accepted, seen, or helped. If continued, the loop would meet most likely, and you would get to the end of the loop where you could usually regroup to find a larger answer. In this understanding, the person would feel like a burden if they sent back their plate, and it would affect their self-concept, their self-worth. Their viewing of self will be affirmed lowly in the occurrence that they would not want to risk it. The risk of being seen as problematic means that their idea of being unlovable, that their unlovable nature is true, and that is too much to bear. Let us look at one more quick example. Say you have a woman who wants to go for a particular role in her career. She feels limited and she can't evolve to the point of that position. Asking why, she gets the answer that it would be too hard. Why would it be too hard? Quote, I lack the necessary requirements to compete at the level where most are at that position. Why? Because I never invested myself into learning what I needed. Why? Because I could never have the job, so why spend time wasted? Why? Because I'm unfit for the job. There's someone better. I'm not worthy. Because I'm not dedicated. I have self-doubt. What would be so bad, then, about there being someone better that would be more fitting? Then that means I'm not qualified, that I'm unfit. What makes that so bad? That affirms the reality that I'm not worthy, that I can't do what I want, that I'm powerless. You ask yourself, what makes that so bad? I never want to go after what I want, then I will always succumb to the belief someone else could do it better, so why try? This person, without looping, can be seen expressing their inner self-worth identities. The lack of self-belief put on this individual is in a constant loop of never actually taking action to become better, never studying or investing time and energy into oneself. So they continue to self-prophesize that not only that she feels like she's not enough, that she's not enough, but then the lack of action coming from the state of it, of her not taking action is the best option because she believes it to be safe and secure, that if she doesn't take that action, she can believe that she's keeping herself safe by reducing the negative impact and destruction which would come from inherently taking action, by investing time and energy into something which, hypothetically, could fail, that has already failed in her mind. If you look closely, there are unified themes in both of these examples. One, being a low self-esteem, and two, because of their low self-esteem, they take only actions in safety. They do not want to leave their comfort zone. An identity around comfort is the state that they're in, and it is the state that they know. It's predictable. In reality, all circumstances come to survival. When we look towards things, it's for safety and security. For the biggest love, security is the biggest love and our biggest emotional destroyer. Because we're conditional with it. It's abusive because we rely it on circumstances and people. But guess what? It's not related to the physical. It may comply to it and promote it, but you could be in a jungle of poisonous, deadly things while feeling safe and secure, while feeling like an absolute terrified animal in the presence of only yourself in a, quote, cozy home. It's your mind. That's purely what it is. And limitations show you what observations are occurring. What is it that you feel threatened? Is it our sense of connection, opportunities, or our time? It doesn't matter what you say and answer specifically. It traces back to one thing: your self-concept and self-worth. You don't think you have it? It's your self-concept. You don't think you can have it? You don't have the means? Your self-concept. You don't think you have the time? Your identity to self. You might be going, Luna, how could you say that? Time is limited. People are limited. They are all limited. Okay, but what stops you from existing within the limitation? Within the occurrence of it existing? Your excuse of those in places that you want to be in to have better odds, circumstances, and or opportunities is no longer sufficient. I'm sure if you're here this long, you're not here for the sweetened version, you're here for truth. And the truth is the only thing that makes them get it was a vibrational match. You either simply are vibrationally aligned and harmonious and compatible to it, or you are not, and therefore aligned to the opposite, which is not having it. It is not personal, no matter how personal people want to make it. It's vibrational. It's hertz, it's frequency. It's unconditional. This means you vibrate having it, you have it. You vibrate not having it, you don't have it. It's simple physics. So how do you control your vibration, you may ask? Watch the videos, The Power of Genetic DNA Consciousness, Emotions, Your Guide to Easy Understanding, as well as my video of identification. In all of these videos talk on how DNA is our information holders, which are made up of vibration. Our emotions, thoughts, and memories get encoded into this genetic material and create the being that we see today, the beings we saw, and the beings that will be. It is from our energetically charged emotions, based on our thought beliefs, coming from our level of understanding, which embeds particularly largely amplified vibrational codes within our body. The more we believe something to identify to it, the more we vibrate at that level of frequency, holding steady there. As we know, and if you didn't take note, we have an AC flow, which is an alternating current. And there's also a DC flow, which is a direct current. An AC flow flows in both directions. So within these flows, they create magnetism, and our electrical flow of the AC current produces a magnetic field which moves in both directions. This magnetic field is also one that is pulling in, attracting electrons into its magnetic field. What makes a particular electron compatible or not? Attracted? If an electron is paired, this means that two electrons are moving in one of the same orbit but in oppositional forces, which cancel their magnetic field. This pair is no longer looking for other electrons as they are stable. It's only within an unpaired electron will it look for another. This unpaired electron, having no partner with an opposite spin, continues to exude a magnetic field which is equivalent to its spin. Now, depending on the strength and the current will amplify the size of the magnetic field, but additionally, moving charges produce a perpendicular magnetic field in the direction that is based on, depending on if it's positive or negative, which it produces. Now, the lesson of science is almost done, but we need to know we are magnets. We repel and we attract. If we are sending out energy in both directions, such as the AC flow suggests, we are magnets in a more complex way. Because most of our electrons are paired, we are diamagnetic, meaning we also repel magnetic fields, so we attract some while pushing some away, some magnetic fields. Imagine two magnets, okay? You face both of these magnets at each other, but they're both north, so they repel. Now you switch one, you get south facing north. Now you get connection, attraction, they'll attract. Easy, right? It's just like us. But if we go around life with the force of north trying to attract north, how do you think you're going to get north? But if you use the force of south, you will attract north. How does this work when we're talking about attraction, electromagnetism, and the case of limitations? When acting out of lack, we have a low charge, and so not only is our magnetic field smaller, less expansive, and not able to hold a larger capacity, it also alters what we are attracted, what we are attracting, what we're attracted to, all due to based on your direction of charge. If you are giving, then you must receive from the outside. If you're receiving, you must have giving from the outside. This thought and understanding aids us in opening our idea to limiting beliefs and just being a vibrational existence which is charged in a particular way with enough momentum and force and strength to repel what you want. You changing your energetic motion, your thoughts, your beliefs, your biochemical reactions will all change the energetic signature which is occurring rapidly and reproducing in your body. That change then creating an attracting force for what it is that you desire past your limitations. Now, to be done with the science portion for now, let us refocus back to our topic. The topic that you chose this time of something to occur. Like stated prior, you do not force this state of time. Objectively, it is to be used as, are you in the state, or are you not in the state where you can have the desires that you perceive? Or is it limited? This is important to understand when you are not in the state of having. Are you separate? Are you perceiving and acting out of lack? All ideas and actions will be taken from the vibratory state and will produce outcomes which reflect lack. You must change inside first. The internal workings to feel abundance, to feel outcomes, to train your mind, your emotional body, your nervous system, and all else of your being to vibrate at the state of having. This means habitual practice to train your emotional processing system and to bring peace and resolution to the unhealed and traumatized aspects which still occur within our genetics. To override those electromagnetic charges which do still magnetize more of itself. And so that the limiting beliefs can be transmuted so we can attract what we want externally. And here, when we transmute our frequency to a state of harmony, internally done by analyzing our thoughts and ideas, we see, what do we believe? What are our identifications? If our mind believes something, we are connected to that identification. If we are identified to an idea, of course, we will be able to be swayed, hearing and latching onto affirmations of others regarding it. Whether it is a conscious or unconscious occurrence, it happens with both. When we allow others' verbal, nonverbal, and even people's perceptions, our ideas of their perceptions, to mold us to believe what we do about ourselves and our environment. Whether it's positive or negative, at the end of the day, only you can choose. Only you do choose. You just gave your power and responsibility off to another, saying that their acknowledgement, that their truth was more important and more valuable than yours, so it makes it true only if they do. Once again, traced back to the self-worth and self-concept of identity. Only you know yourself the way that you do. If you think this person who just called you annoying is true, then it's the fact that you thought it was true all along. You didn't want to accept it, or even the subconscious belief. Unconscious, conscious. It would not make a difference if this person called you wonderful. If deep down you had a running belief that you were unliked and unloved, you would think they are lying. It doesn't make it true or false. It's neutral. You just identified to it. Limitations are just that. Just an identification you are aware of. A limitation of an identity, one you used to tell yourself why you're stuck in this mindset, this state of being, why you can't evolve, why you aren't good enough, why you aren't all these things, why you are separate. If you can continue on this story that you've told yourself, that you aren't connected, or better put, that you aren't what you had perceived to be separate from, you could do this, or you can acknowledge all as pure consciousness, pure potential, move past your limitations. It means everything and nothing has chosen to be something. What have you been choosing that said, I wasn't this? Where have you said you weren't worthy? Where have you fallen apart as though you felt like you were craving something? What was it that you crave and grieve so heavily? Every day is a new moment. Every breath is a new moment to center ourselves and see what we have limited ourselves with. Do we think we can't access better, more enjoyable life experiences, circumstances, and happinesses, which could bring true harmony? What is it that makes us believe it is so unrealistic? What stops us from believing there is a possibility for everyone's best interest to be taken a part of? It's as simple as the fact that yours was not taken wholly and a part of, and it was never completely your best interest being taken a part of as a priority. It was never another's, and it was never yours, and I'm sure you and others did their best, but it was not it. It was not inclusive, was it? It was still laced in separation. It was laced in lack, and you were not provided for where you needed, where you were told to suck it up, told lies that this is life, and this is just how it goes. You got told to settle by people who settled their entire life for the same reason. They could never break out of the mental prison, the false box, the one made of mirror saying you can't get out. The fear of losing the security held us back, but what do we do when we fear not having ourselves more? Today I say face the mirror and ask why. Show yourself and other curiosity. Unconditionally observant. What is it that you don't believe in, of, and for? I can't say by watching this video all your limitations will just disappear. That they'll magically just, all your mental blocks have now lifted, and now you can go live that dream of $1 million job and dream relationship. I'm saying that with genuine work and attention, compassion, and unconditionality, you can create the life that you needed to be, the you that you needed to be, for your job, for the relationship, for the circumstances that you have envisioned. Those beyond your wildest beliefs. And where it starts is right now, in you. You are building the you that is ready, the you that has not been it. And you get to know with curiosity and compassion, softening the barriers so that you can understand why you have the blockages you do, why you have believed there to be limits, where you have believed to be limited. Most of all, it shows you that deep down what you felt separate from. As long as you act from the space of not having it, you will not have it. It is not yours. And as long as you believe that it is not yours, that it is not you, and is not in your reality, it will continue to be affirmed to you that you are limitless and powerless in that circumstance. Until you choose to take power back into your hands once more. Release the idea of control. Rather, use surrendering of knowing that you are one, you are taken care of, and you are being taught. You are acting towards evolution and harmony. This is to create the time, the place, and the circumstance. It is by you in that state, the state of knowing that it is time for something to occur. It is only when you can truly believe you have gained the necessary knowing without the need for your physical to reflect a specific image to you, that in your choice to know no matter what, you will then be ready. The state of knowing, you can feel inspiration and act accordingly. You connecting to your desires, the true desire lying beyond the illusion of being separate. You are more. And in unity and gratitude, you push past the limits. And the limits showing us the shadows, so that way we can gain consciousness, so we can shine light over the unknown, over what you are, and know that there is more. There is always more. Limits are just that which we had once subscribed to. The box of your mental conceptions, your mental limitations. It's your frequency. This box of limits is just your frequency. So you gain mental experience and mental awareness of what this box is. You've now gained your frequency. You've evolved past this box. You went from little box to big box now. You will continue this for the rest of your life. And you will continue to have conscious awareness. So do enjoy and make a game out of it. Find the joy out of the beauty. And find a reason to laugh over the silly and illusionary beliefs we have. You only have this frequency once, this moment in time once. And so with this experience, let us learn and be conscious of it. And so that we can allow it to be what it was and move on to grow with the lesson of wholeness and connection that is always with us. You are connected. You are unified. Limitations just prove it to you in a way that is very special. You are always more. You've always been more. Enjoy.